Welcome back to the Seaboard Central, everyone, and the May 2023 layout update. A lot's been going on this past month, so let's get started. Here's the latest locomotive to join Seaboard Central. Now for a little bit about this locomotive. This actually was the original Seaboard Central 2009. And I'll show you a photo of back when it was patched out, a former Norfolk Southern unit. So it started out as NS 5029 and it originally came with a Tsunami decoder. I later had it upgraded to a Loc Sound Select decoder with a TCS Keep Alive. And then just recently, I had it sent off to Georgia Bigfoot Trains, who put a V5 decoder with a built-in supercapacitor and a scale sound system speaker. Now it's named in honor of my friend James Caldwell, who passed away in 2003. I worked with James at Six Flags over Georgia from like 1989 to 1991, fresh out of high school. James was a retired Southern Railway engineer and one of the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life. He's the kind of guy that'd give you the shirt off his back. And this is my way of honoring him by dedicating a locomotive in his name. While we're waiting on the conductor to work the air and brakes, we can look at a scene I worked on this past month and they did a whole series on. So if you didn't watch it, I'd invite you to go back and check it out. And this is the pond series build. It's all been wrapped up. I added a pond to this corner of the layout. You can see all the scenery that's been put in. Most of the scenery I picked up at scenicexpress.com. A lot of Martin Welberg bushes. A lot of ready-made trees that I upgraded. I have an upgraded video on how I changed a ready-made tree to make it look more prototypical. Here it is from another angle. There's a lot of material that went in. All my backdrops are by Trackside Scenery. I really like the way those backdrops look. So I tried to blend the foreground scenery into in front of that backdrop to give it a real smooth transition. And you can see how I highlighted that embankment. And the water is the Woodland Scenics water system. So what we're going to do today is take the 2003 and switch these cars out that came out of ADM. I need to set this DDG car in the clear. I added a derail to that track by Scotty's Model Shop. We'll go ahead and clear one. We have another one going in. We're pulling high with a cut and catch the 2003 going over the Trout Creek Bridge. Very smooth running engine. Now we need to shove another cut on the main line to get back to that other DDG car so we can set it in. All we're doing is just lining up these cars for the next operating session. Just building the L63 train. We're going to shove back and cut those tank cars off. That should work. Now we got to reach back out and grab those two tank cars and set them in. Let's see if I can make an eggshell coupling. There you go. This is one of my favorite parts of operations, just switching some cars around. It's actually all I do for a living too. I'm on a job that just switches the yard. I actually have no earthly idea what the conductor's doing back there as he's switching the cars all day. I just go backwards and forwards all day long. And some people may say that's boring comparing to run a train 60 miles an hour down the main line. But I like it because it's a regular schedule and it lets me come home and do some work on the Seaboard Central. We'll shove these two in the clear. I'm going to shove them far enough back so when I come back in and couple the next time, the couplers will be lined up. So that should be good. You'll notice all my cars don't have coupler trip pins. I use this Katie uncoupling pick to uncouple the couplers. So I just stick them down in the coupler and I can uncouple the cars that way. For me personally, I don't like the looks of the coupler trip pins. If I'm going to go to the trouble of changing the couplers out to these more scale size couplers such as the 58s, the 158s, the 119s offered by KD, the last thing I want to have is an unsightly coupler trip pin sticking out. I don't use magnetic uncoupling out underneath the layout anyway, so what I want to do with a lot of these cars are add other details like uncoupling levers and the magnetic air hoses that are offered by North American Railcar. So what I'm going to do now is just reach out and grab the rest of these grain hoppers, and then we'll shove everything in the clear. I All right, I got them. Let's notch this 2003 up and pull on them. The way I got this thing programmed, it won't run any faster than 12 miles an hour. That's plenty fast enough to do some switching. So to give you an idea, that's about 5 miles an hour as measured by my AccuTrack speedometer. Now let it coast so I can use the brake. So let's stretch the track before we shove back. Make sure everything's solid. And it is. So now we're going to shove the cars back past beyond the derail. And they'll be all lined up for the next operating session. That'll work. Just a couple more things I've been working on. You can see I've added some piping to these silos for the ADM. I still got one more to add right here, the longest one. But hopefully I'll get that finished. Another thing I did is very hard to make out, but you kind of look, you can see it in where that tank is. I got electrical lines going between these telephone poles all the way back. They actually go all the way around through the opening in the wall to the yard office on the other side. And lastly, work continues to progress on the window module. You can see I've added a backdrop in front of it. It's another one from Trackside Scenery. I got him to customize this one, and I love the way it turned out. It is absolutely perfect for this area because in this corner, which I'm going to start building on hopefully this month, is going to be National Cement in Raglan, Alabama, or at least a small portion of it where we load out the covered hoppers. And the actual location sets off the main line, so I wanted it in the background to have that mine back there and put it in front of some old abandoned warehouses, and really love the way it turned out. Another thing I need to do is add the Blue Point switch machines underneath the layout. You can see here I've actually decided to put a derail in. I'm going to fix that up to look like a split rail derail on that pass track. So right now the only thing is now that everything is painted, but there's no actual ballast underneath that. But it does give a really cool temporary look to it until I do get around to ballast in it. So this is going to be it for this layout update. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like, share it, comment below. I appreciate it. One more last look at the pond scene. Really did like the way this turned out in this corner. It turned an otherwise ordinary bland corner into something a lot more interesting. And it just goes to show you don't have to have an industry on every piece of track that you have. Leave room for some nice scenes that you can decorate. And a corner like this is a perfect place for a pond. So until next time, thank you so much for watching the Seaboard Central, and happy model railroading, everyone.